some closing thoughts. I said in the beginning of the program that I was going to say exactly what type of theatrical absurdity this nomination of Neil Gorsuch for the Supreme Court was, and I'll get to that in a second. But first, look, we're in for a long haul of this guy, and let's be prepared to pace ourselves, okay? Just when you think it can't get any worse, of course it does, both on the substance and the style. Let's talk about the style for a second. Let's talk about the fact that nominating someone for the Supreme Court, a lifetime appointment, is one of the gravest responsibilities a president holds. And the 45th president of the United States just handled that responsibility as if it was a vaudeville act. Only 11, and just talking in general terms, I'll say this: not only is he doing horrible things, but only 11 days into his presidency, Donald Trump proved with the nomination of Neil Gorsuch that he's also becoming boring. His shtick is over. It's dead. It's done. If a president's only job were to entertain, distract, and amuse an audience, which, by the way, seems to be Trump's conception of the job, if a president's only duty was to entertain and keep your attention, Trump would be impeached already, because it's getting tiresome. And he tried to play this as if it was a suspenseful appointment. There was no suspense. We didn't know the name of the person we were going to get, but we knew it was going to be a man. We knew it was going to be somebody who is such a right-winger that his version of what would be called judicial, quote-unquote, originalism would lead to suspending our living, breathing Constitution in ancient prejudices of race, ethnicity, religion, class, and gender. So there was no suspense there, Mr. Trump. So what kind of act was he trying to pull by having the two finalists come to Washington, D.C. to, quote unquote, keep us in suspense, as if there were any suspense? Well, it's not. I would say it's the one field of entertainment Trump knows best, and that is the beauty pageant. He definitely put us through all the rituals of the finalists meeting, and you get the last three and then the last two, and you grant the crown. But you know what? It doesn't work. What it does do, though, even as his act gets worse and worse and more trite, is it distracts us. It's just so overwhelmingly bad that it can distract us from the real issue. And in the case of this Supreme Court seat, the real issue is this: it was never Trump's to fill. Now, look, beauty pageants are one thing, Supreme Court seats are another. A beauty pageant, Miss Universe, is a one-year job. This is a lifetime job. Trump had already told us all his nominees were going to be, as he told Breitbart News last June, would be all picked by the Federalist Society. That's the hard right-wing, activist, anti-government organization that has seeded our judiciary with its moles for many years now. So he said they would be all picked, or is that alt-picked, by the Federalist Society. So, he had it all set up, the big dramatic announcement. There was the red carpet leading to the podium, the flags flanking both sides of the entrance. We had Steve Bannon and Reince Priebus, the two lobes of Trump's republicanism, in their neat blue suits, trying to appear as if they were chatting amicably with one another. And then Trump got up and said, this may be the most transparent selection process in history. Well, Mr. Trump, seeking attention and transparency are not the same things. You didn't tell us how you were going through the process, except what your conditions would be. And by the way, nobody has said anything about this, but I watched the announcement, and just like Steve Harvey garbled and mangled the announcement of Miss Universe last year, Trump mangled his announcement too. Here's what he said, and I quote, he said that he was, quote, nominating Neil Gorsuch of the United States Supreme Court to be of the United States Supreme Court. So he couldn't even get his big line right. And then he said this, and again, I quote the president, was that a surprise? Was it? Now, again, we got a guy who's, he was trying to drum up phony enthusiasm like a Toastmaster at a junior high school spelling bee, but that's what we're going to get. And by the way, apparently it wasn't a surprise because a reporter at the scene tweeted out that even before Trump came into the room, you could see Gorsuch's name visible on the teleprompter before he even walked into the room. So this is what we're left with as a presidency, a lame Borscht Belt type routine from a guy who doesn't know what he's doing and is taking directions from a fanatic of the right. Welcome to your America.